Hello everyone, I am Farwa along with Hafiz Mohammad Attaullah, who is AWS community builder and security consultant and at Greenfins. So hope you all are fine by all means. So with the platform of Nanotechx, we are here for to make you to have better understanding how to select your FIP ideas. So let's have an overview of Nanotechx. So basically, Nanotechx is an IT and cybersecurity company, solutions and consultancy company, provides solutions for small, large, and mid-sized organization security issues of organizations as well as penetration testing that is tailored to the needs of organizations. सो स्टार्टिंग विद योर क्वेरीज, जो हमें पहले क्वेरीज रिसीव हुई थी उनको कंबाइन करके हमने आपको आंसर करना चाहा है, फिर उसके बाद नेक्स्ट क्वेरीज को हम परसू करेंगे. सो हाफिज मोहम्मद अताउल्ला, आप क्वेरीज का जवाब दे दीजिए.
Okay, so thank you so much. Uh, am I audible?
यस.
Okay, so काइंडली ये भी कंफर्म करिएगा कि हम लाइव हैं या नहीं.
जी जी, हम लाइव हैं.
Okay, so Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you so much for inviting me. As mentioned by Farwa, we got a lot of emails, calls, messages from students regarding ideas for the final year project. So I gave them detailed replies, but I thought I should arrange a session or live talk and share my ideas. This may help and guide other students. So we have collected so many queries regarding FIPs. So before moving to questions, I am going to start with a quick overview so that we can understand the basic rules and basic standards about FIP which we should follow anyways. So first of all, uh, I have few questions that you should ask yourself first. So in the first part, you have asked for direction on your idea brain controlled wheelchair. It is an interesting idea, though in no way in uh, uh, either it is a novel or not. Just a simple search on Google will list a number of such projects done before, including a complete instructable. I have seen students do this same project in Pakistan as well. I remember seeing one of my university. So the question that you should be asking yourself when deciding on an idea to work on is, so few questions that I have mentioned are, why do I want to build this? Why do I want to build this project? And like, does it solve a particular problem or need? Also, I have mentioned earlier that would it be practical enough to be used in Pakistan? For example, are the EEG sensors easily available locally in Pakistan or easy to reproduce locally in Pakistan? So if I made one, would it be cheap enough that people would be willing to buy it or not, right? So would also would it be practically usable or not? How much getting used to would be required by someone if that someone decide to use it? So definitely you notice that in the question list I have not listed down a single technical question or challenge. So when you work on idea, you usually build a prototype first to prove yourself, you prove your point that the idea is possible or not. So my point is, in this particular case, we know that the idea is possible and people have built it quite a few times, but we have not seen it as a commercial product just yet. So the question comes down to whether it would be really useful to build a brain controlled wheelchair in the Pakistani context or not, right? So the second part of your question is more general as to what kind of final year project should be you be working on. The answer that I am giving you is the discussion that I have with my all friends. So I have a few points. My first point is either your project is research based or non research based project, right? Your definitely there are two kinds of project. Either your project is research based, either your project is non research based. At the undergraduate level, most students go for non-research based projects, which are mostly practical in nature, right? Those who are interested in, in research based projects are usually who plan to go for a master degree or a PhD by research, right? So the first question that you should ask yourself is what excites you, right? So, doing research, which involves reading research papers, understanding, analyzing, implementing them in probably maybe in MATLAB, in Python, in other simulations, in simulators, and coming up with your own improved techniques, your own improved algorithms in particular area. Either you have used if your background is telecommunication, you go for either you go for antennas, cyber security, and etc. So, building a project which involves less research and more practical stuff like understanding new programming libraries or algorithms and implementing them to solve a problem. So, my first point was research based or non research based. And my second point is choosing the right supervisor. This is most important. Once you decide for a particular area, you must select a supervisor who most suit your project and your area. For example, if you want to do a research-based project, find a supervisor with a PhD, right? If you want to do a more practical project, find a supervisor who has worked in the industry or has worked on practical projects. So my third point is hardware or software. Your project is either hardware or software. So if you decide to build a project that is mostly software, then you must see if you have access to the right development tools. For example, most Pakistani universities are part of the Microsoft Academic Alliance, which gives them access to most Microsoft development tools, right? So if you plan to see a particular library that is not freely available, most libraries are not available at free of cost. So can you get an academic free version of it? That is another question, right? So can you find an open source alternative for that library or not? So if you are planning to build a hardware project, there are some important questions to consider. In most cases, hardware is unavailable locally. Although there are now a number of local websites that offer microcontrollers, that offer other electronic parts like elab.pk, evolpk.com, robocave.pk, and digipark.org, and etc. and many other websites. So you may also need 3D printing to build your hardware prototype. In this case, you can also get your stuff printed from facebook.com. I have and I just watched an Facebook page that is 3D printing PK, right? So if you can convince your university or have the finance, you can get a 3D printer in Pakistan from explore3d.com and other many websites. Simply you can Google it. So my fourth point is funding your project. This is most important. So one of the most important aspect that you must consider before going for your idea or your FIP is to figure out how you are going to finance your project. There are many ways to fund your project, like National ICT R&D Fund runs a program that is where they finance innovative FIP ideas, mostly for buying hardware. You can get up approximately 65,000 in funding. Usually, the funding takes a long time, but to release funds, so be prepared to spend from your own pocket initially if you plan to take this this kind of routes, right? Also, another way is to find someone willing to find your idea. There are several companies in Islamabad, in in Karachi, here in Lahore, that they are willing to work with your final year project. And the key is to find a company that works in your area and your domain and would be willing to work with you. So a good idea is to find someone from the faculty who knows people in a company you are looking for, right? You find for a teacher, and most faculty or most teachers have friends and what kind of colleagues. They are working in local companies. So my third point is to fund your project yourself, right? In my case, I wanted to build a if I say if I build a robot which required considerable finances, buying stuff and getting things done, I have solved this problem by convincing my friend. Is that possible? I think, right? So it helped me in sharing the cost, and we managed to spend more than 50,000 on our hardware and manufacturing. So my point is, be careful though. Most universities usually only allow a maximum of 3 students per group. Mostly universities are allowed to 5 students, 4 students, etc. So my fifth point is finding the right idea. This is another most important key point. One of the key question is to understand what kind of idea you can work on, and one of the most important activities in your undergraduate studies that can define your future direction. So the decision should be taken very, very, very wisely. If you plan to go for a master degree and are good at reading papers, then find a research-based project. If you plan to work for a company, even then you can do a research project or vice versa. So there are no fixed paths. For example, a student of uh, uh, my university did a research-based project on data mining and started working on IBM at Islamabad, right? So after working for a couple of years at IBM, he has now gone for his masters in BI, uh, business intelligence. I think you remember this, right? So when students come to me or comes to any other and ask for advice regarding projects, I think I usually tell them to find a problem to solve or a need to fulfill. So how does one go about finding a problem? I have devised a top-down approach to finding the right problem to solve. The key is to think big and ask yourself, what kind of problem can I solve, and can I what I can say, can I create an algorithm to enable fully autonomous operations of the Mars rover, either. Or if you think that that is too narrow down your search, think of what global problem can you solve. Have you ever looked at United Nations? No. So there are many competitions as well at Kaggle, at ITU Young Innovator Program, at GitHub program, and etc. that encourage one to solve global problems using information and communication technologies. If you still cannot find a problem, then look for a local problem to solve. Right? Think of the problems that face Pakistan today: poverty, lack of education, lack of health facilities, lack of you know uh, technical facilities, and etc. There are practically thousands of problems to solve. So choosing to solve one can benefit everyone. And finally, if you still have not found a problem to solve, then look around you. Can you find a problem where you live or your university campus? Can you automate a certain process that could make life easier for students? For example, every university has a uh, clearance process through which each student has to go through one. Then he or she graduated from this university. Everyone time and energy. Can you somehow automate this problem or not? This is another problem, right? So there are once again plenty more to solve. Finally, one way to find ideas is to read and read a lot. Read about the things that interest you, and you will surely get ideas for your final year project. And once you find an idea, then discuss it with your peers, with your colleagues, with your group mates, with your faculty, with your even your parents. Then feedback helps refine ideas, and everyone will give their own perspective, which help in improving your ideas, right? So uh, this is all about me from the basics, and good luck in finding the right idea for your final year project. And now feel free to ask if you have further questions. I'm here to let you know about it. So, Umm Farwa,
Yes,
is
yes,
it?
we are many questions from the FIP
Okay,
students. So
okay, okay.
the question is
Okay,
displaying on your screen, so you can answer them.
okay. So the question is, what things we should keep in mind while choosing final year projects, and how can I select my project for my final year? Okay. So I will make a quick checkpoint, right? Make sure your project meets the standards your college had set. No hello world programs, right? And make sure if you choose a research project, it is feasible. You cannot pick unsolvable problems. If you do, make sure your progress counts as your project. So my point is, this is a major factor for interviews. A lot of time this could give you an edge over other candidates. So I recommend try to think a little bit medium term so that you can show this off in your CV, right? And point number two is learn as much as possible through this project. This might be your last chance to do so before your campus interview, if this matters. And if pick something you are highly interested in and just go through with it, you have enough time if you have planned it correctly. This is just for choose who are actually passionate about something. I hope you get it, right? Another question, Anupara?
Yes, wait a minute. Second one is
Okay, so how should I start preparing for my final year project? I am a final year EE student. Okay, so this is a common question. Uh, See, find your area of interest and build up your technical confidence in that field. If you want your project to be really worth, try something new. The term trying something new does not mean you have to become an inventor or a scientist. You simply have to think about the box. The easiest way is to combine a handful of small projects into a bigger and useful one to advance any project that has already has been done. So whatever might be the case, you should have good hands-on exposure. So start building small projects and eventually build up a big one. You find a lot of projects online. Start with them, right? So another,
Are you done?
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Next one is
What type of final year project do companies see? The companies won't expect much since they know that you are a freshie, and in the final year project will be uh, on placement, higher studies preparation rather than the project. Many are like this. So do a standard, not too easy, not too tough. So try to implement some of the industry use technical in it, and to get the attention of the hiring guys. So as long as you do your project and explain it clearly, you win the interviews. So I think another question. What Android topic should I make my final? Okay, so see, I have some ideas like recognition system that recognize text, logos, photos, videos, etc. Another is uh, like a remote control of your PC using Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and over the internet. And like another is in my I think screen share over Wi-Fi. I mean local area network and internet. For example, a window where one can make any drawing or stuff like that, which gets instantly shared to another authorized mobile user, and also give signals to your mobile using Morse code by tapping it. For example, you can make a pattern of four taps to enable this feature. Then tabs become dots and develop the dashes, right? So whether the task has been completed successfully or not, you can go for it, right? Okay. So next is being an EC final year project, a final year student. What topic we should make our project? Okay. So EC has some of the interesting technologies to play with that. Embedded system is one of the top where you can do software and hardware related project. Most of them choose this domain, but this could be surely quite interesting. And VLSI is the department who usually choose wanna continue their higher studies in that. Doing project in VLSI would be more challenging since it is an higher end concept. Also, we have digital image processing is an virtual human eye that can see, which are possible to our eyes. You know, we can play with the images. Also, we have another idea is antenna. Antenna is one of the domain need more sophisticated equipments. If you will get the support, you can do, right? Also, we have an uh, aerial vehicle systems. This is another domain. What I did suggest many students, it had combined almost all domains, right? Still, there are many more domains are available for the EC department, but you can choose what suits you based on availability of the resource and guidance. So next question, please. What are some best sites to get? Okay, so I would suggest not to go for any particular website. They would all suggest what other graduates already have done. Do something creative, right? And implement your own idea. Doesn't matter if it sounds pure bachelor's to you or your friends, right? But we have some examples are like I have an interesting website that is bewakoof.com. Yeah, literally. So they are providing some uh, interesting ideas created by a college student. And also another is brick.co. uh, there some projects on Raspberry Pi. They are really cool projects. And also uh, many other websites. The main idea is to implement something, to think of something, to solve any existing problem in a better way. Don't try to find projects, implement your own idea. Uh, I want to add a tip for you, that focus on the project that has industry usage rather than traditional management system. And for example, billion tree project, right? Machine learning and TensorFlow, Zakat system, and Islamic banking system. They are two things you have to focus. That the project should relate it to your future. It must have use in industry requirements. Uh, So next is how to framing your topic. So I think you have to be very careful not to choose an unnecessary broad topic, as it may prove quite difficult to concentrate it to into what kind of research question or guiding questions. And also being too narrow is not good either, as this will the volume of information available on that topic. It should be broad enough for you to get uh, sufficient libraries to work with, but must be narrowed down and enough to have a focus question, right? And also, this may not look too obvious for an academic setting, but it is an important, as the title of any book is. Your topic should be framed in such a way that is easily catches people's attention and spark their crucially. This is not go a long way in making your project research to globally. So
There is another question by Kashif Ali, which is,
okay. So I again repeated, you have to be very careful not to choose an unnecessary idea. You have to build an web-based idea like library systems, and uh, you also search in these kind of projects in bewakoof.com, right? And also in uh, uh, birit.co, birit.co, another website for, and divaynetwork.com, and etc. So in the end, good luck in the finding the right idea for your final year project. And if you have any query, feel free to comment, feel free to email back if you have further questions.
thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. We had a great experience with you. Keep asking such type of questions to have better interactions with us. Thank you. Stay with us.
So thank you so much again. Thank you so much.